Hello, students. My name is Chima, and today I am about to solve a question I gave as an assignment for management information. This is a management information class. For those writing ICANN exam, this is the foundation class. Chapter 4 is on material issue and inventory valuation. So we're about to solve question number 4. So let's get down to the question. It says here, on January 1, Mr. Godwin started a small business selling special yam. Is it yarn or yam? I'll take it as yarn. He invested his savings of £40,000 in the business, and during the next 6 months, the following transactions occurred. Now, we were given the date of receipt of these yarns. Then we have the purchases quantity, which are in boxes, the total costs. Then the date of dispatch, that's the date it was being sold, the quantity in boxes, and the total value. The yarn is stored in premises Mr. Godwin rented, and the closing stock of yarn counted on June 30 was 500 boxes. Other expenses incurred and paid in cash during the 6 months period amounted to £2,300 required. Calculate the value of the material issues during the 6 months period and the value of the closing stock at the end of June using the following methods of pricing: first in, first out, last in, last out, weighted average calculations to 2 decimal places only. Let's take this part of the question first. So the person is Mr. Godwin, and so that's what we are going to use, Mr. Godwin, as our. So we are using Mr. Godwin as the A part. Say Mr. Godwin. Then we have to find the inventory valuation. Say material issue. And inventory valuation using, so the number 1 part is FIFO. I think it's FIFO. Let's see what is stated here. First in, first out. So this is FIFO. All right, so let's do FIFO. So the first thing we will do in FIFO is to set a table. How do we set this table? Now let's set it now. This is going to be where we'll write our dates. Okay, I will want to give a space. I want to make it down a bit. All right, so let's take it down a bit. It is going to be dates. This is quantity. And this is price. then value. Either I put value or I put amount. So this will be receipts. Then the next one is dates, quantity, price, and value. This will be issue, then of course we won't put date here. We'll just say quantity, price, and value. This will be balance. So we are doing FIFO. Now let's set the whole ball rolling. Let's fix the dates. There is no opening stock. He started the business by investing his savings in the business, $40,000. That's the capital. And the first thing he did was to buy 200 boxes on 13th of January. So let's start January 13th. I think I need to use a different color of pen. January 13th. So I would just say this is, sorry, shouldn't be using the same color. All right, so January 13th, we were told he got 200, and it's totaling 7,200. So the quantity here is 200, and the value is 7,200. So what would be the price? The price will simply be, calculator is up here, 7,200 divided by 200. That gives us a price of 36. This is important because we'll use this price in issue. So this is going to be 36. All right. Then here, I'll put a dash here, put a dash, and a dash. So it means we have 200 in balance. That is priced 36, and the value is 7,200. All right. So the next thing to do now is to go to the next part of the question. February 8th, 400. So that's another receipt. February 8th, 400. And the value is 15,200. So I'll write my 15,200 here. 15,200. So how do I know the price? I'll simply say 15,200 divided by 400. That gives me 38 naira or $38 or pounds, as the case may be, as my price. 38. So what I'll do here, so 400 is coming to join the 200 here to become 600. At this point, we will not write a price here because it's a mixture of two prices, which is 36 and 38 naira, but we'll add the values together. So what we'll do here, we'll say 72 is already in store. Value of 72 is in store, and we are bringing a value of 15,200. So it becomes 22,400. So I'll say this is 22,400 here. We don't put a price here, forget about that. The next one is on the same February 8th, we received 600 valued at 24,000. So this is February 8th. We received 600 valued at 24,000. I think that's what it is. Yes. So what do we do now? We simply get the price, 24,000 divided by 600. That will give me 40. So the price here is 40. I'll come here again, put a dash, dash. So the 600 here is coming to join this other 600 to make it 1,200,000. Sorry, 1,200. Again, no price here because there is a mixture of three prices. So we add the value. We'll add the value. So we have 24,000 plus 22,400. That gives me 46,400. That's the balancing figure here, 46,400. All right. Then the next is on the February 10. We gave out 500. February 10. So we'll come here. February 10. That means here will be dash, 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 and dash. So February 10, we gave out 500. Okay? So we won't put a price here. We won't put a price for now, and we won't put a value. We'll come back to here, and we will say 1,200 minus 500. That will give us 700. So balance here is 700. We'll leave it at that first. We'll come back. After February 10, we went to April 12, 400 at 14,000. April 12, 400 at 14,000. We'll have the price again here. So 14,000 divided by 400, that gives us 35. So I'll simply write 35 here. Then I'll simply put a dash here, put a dash here, put a dash here, and a dash here. So 400 plus 700 will give us 1,100. We won't put any value here. Then the next thing is to get the next date. After April 12 is April 20, 600. Now, we are not going to be looking at these values here because this is a selling price. We won't be issuing at selling price. These are the prices we sold them. We're looking at the costs, what it cost us when we issued all of this. So we are looking at 20th of April, there was an issue of 600. So April 20 is going to be here. April 20, there's an issue of 600. We don't know anything here, so we'll put dash first here. Here, 600, take it from 1,100, it's going to be 500. Nothing else here. Then we go to the next question. After April 20, June 15, 500, 14,000. June 15. So we'll say June 15. It's going to be 500, 14,000. So here is dash, here is dash, here is dash, here is dash. So once again, we'll find how much is the price. So 14,000 divided by 500. That will give us 28. So that's the price we're going to write here. 28. So if we add 500 to 500, we are getting 1,000. Then the next thing here is 400 on June 25th. 400. So June 25th is issue. June 25, 400. So there's going to be a dash here, dash, dash, and dash. So 400, take it away from 1,000, it should be giving us 600. So 600 is going to be your closing stock. But look at what is said here. Mr. Godwin counted, okay, the closing stock of yarn counted on June 30 was 500 boxes. But the last date of transaction was 25th and it's 600. So what's the issue now? 100 is missing. How should we treat that 100 that is missing? There are two ways we can do that. We can take it as an issue, but this time the person in charge of the store is going to be the one to pay. Or we can take it as theft. Can take it as theft. But the thing here is, whichever treatment we do it, whether we put it in stock inventory I will put it in the financial statement as theft. We are going to value it at the stock cost that reflects the method. So at this time, I'm going to value it as theft, but I'll put it in stock here. I'll put it in stock. So this is going to be a special one here. So I'll take it as an issue. So there's a dash here. It's also a dash here, dash here, dash here. Let me use a different color so that you get to understand it. So I'm going to put June 30. I'm going to use 100. So 100 is missing. And so when you remove 100 from 600, it becomes 500. So we leave here like that. So after doing all of that, we will now close. We now close our books. We close our books. Okay. So what do we get? If we have 200 plus 400, that will give us 600. Plus 600, that is 1002. 1002 plus 4, 1006. 16 plus 5, 2100. So our purchase is 2100. Okay. Then our issues, 500 plus 600 plus 400, that is 1005. 1005 plus 1, 1600. So of course, this is 1600. So if you had to remove 1600 from 21 to give you this balance here of 500. So this is your closing stock. So this is your closing stock. Then this is your cost of sales. This is your cost of sales. COS figure. And this is your purchase. Okay, so let's do that of value before we take the workings. These are preliminary calculations we should do. So we have 7,200 plus 15,200 plus 24,000 plus 14,000 plus another 14,000. That gives us 74,400. Our total purchase is 74,400. All right. We're yet to do this and this. So we'll start by doing our workings here. Let's do our workings here. We'll say, take it down to do workings on this page. Workings. FIFO. All right. So the first one we are doing is to look for the price for this 500. So this 500 will take 200 at 36 and 300 at 38. So we'll say issue price on February 10. So number one, issue price on February 10. $200 at, okay, this is pounds, 36 pounds. Then we'll take the remaining 300 at 38 pounds. So what do we get when we do this calculation? We activate our calculator. So 200 times 36. That gives me 7,002, as we know. Then the next thing is the 300 at 38. So 300 multiply by 38. That gives us 11,400. If we were to add these together, it means here 11,400 plus 7,200. That will give us 18,600. So we have our 18,600 here. And this is 500. So if 500 is valued at 18,600, so you say if 500 boxes is equal to 18,600 pounds, therefore one box will be equal to 18,600 divided by 500. So this gives us the price, 18,600. Where's the calculator? We have our 18,600 here, and we'll say divided by 500. That will give us 37.2. We can say 0.20. So this is 37.2. So this is the price we are using to issue this 500. 37.2. So I'll come here. This is 37.2. And when I multiply 37.2 by 500, of course, I'll get 18,600. So I'll have my 18,600 here. All right. Now this is 18,600. I will need to remove it from 46,400. So let me remove that. This 18,600. I need to remove it from 46,400. 46,400. Ouch. I did something else. 46,400 minus 18,600. That gives us 27,800. So this is 27,800 here. 27,800. No price here. Don't put any price. All right. So it means now that we took 200 from here and 300 here. So it means that 100 is still remaining here. Then for this 600 that we are taking, what happens? There's 100 remaining here at 38. Then we'll take the remaining 500 at 40. 100 at 38, 500 at 40. So this 600 issued on April 20. So I'll say issued on April 20. I'll say 600 boxes. So we know we have 100 remaining at 38 naira. Then the remaining 500 will take it from the 600 that was bought after that at 40. Let's verify again. This is 600 was here. We'll take 500 here. Okay. At 40. So what do we do now? Our calculator will come into play. $100 multiplied by 38. That gives me 3,800. So this is 3,800. Calculator again. 500 multiplied by 40. That gives me 20,000. So this is 20,000. So if you add, this will give me 23,800. And this will give me 600. So to know the price of one box will be 23,800 divided by 600. So what's the price? This is 20. Let me add a 38 to it. This is 23,800 divided by 600. Wow. That will give me 39.67. So give me 39.67. 39.67. All right, so I'll go down here, 39.67, I'll put the 23,800. 23,800 is here. $39.67 is 37.20. All right. So what I would do now, I skipped here. Let's address that. We had 27,800 as value balance, 27,800 before. And we brought in goods worth 14,000. So we'll add the 14,000 to it. 14,000. That gives us 41,800 here. 41,800. And now we are removing 23,800 from it. So what would that be? 41,800 minus 23,800. That will give us 18,000. So here is 18,000. No price. We'll add 14,000 to 18,000. We'll add 14,000 to 18,000. 14,000 is added. That gives us 32,000. So here will be 32,000. Okay. So it's now remaining this last issue and this last issue. So let's address that now. All right, so we want to check the 400 that was issued. So how do we check it? What's the issue price? So remember, we did we took 500 from the one bought at 40 naira. So 500 was taken from here. So we are left with 100. 100 is here. So we're taking 100 from here. And since this is 600, we take the 100 from here. We take 400 from here, making 500. And we'll take 100 from here. So let's do that now. So issued on June 25. That's workings 3. Issued on June 25. That's 600 boxes. So we had 100 left at 40 £40. I need to put the currency. At £40. So that should give me 4,000. So 100 is gone. We've taken 100 from here. We take the 400 at 35 and another 100 at 28. So this is 400 at 35, then 100 at 28. We verify if it is 28. Yes. All right, so we activate our calculator once more. $400 multiplied by 35. That would give us 14,000. So we have 14,000 here. So this will give us 14,000. Then 100 times 28 will give us 2,800. All right, so we add them up together. $40,000 is on my calculator. So I'll just add plus 2,800 plus 4,000. That will give me 20,800. $20,800, and this is 600. So we'll do a one box here. One box will be equal to 20,800 divided by 600. That will give me what? We'll check our calculator once more. 20,800 divided by 600. So divided by 600. That will give us 34.67. So that's what we use. 34.67. 20,800. So this will become 34.67. This will be 20,800. So we'll remove that from 32,000. What would that be? $32,000 minus 20,800. That gives us 11,200. So we have here 11,200. All right, so what happens now? What happens now? We have 100 left. where would this 100 be? Okay, we remembered taking this 200 when dealing with 700, we took 200 here and 300 from this 400. So remaining 100. When dealing with 1,000, when dealing with 600, we took the 300 here. Sorry. When dealing with 500, we took 200 plus 300 here. When dealing with this 600, we took the 200 here. Sorry, 100 here plus 500 here. When dealing with this 400, we took 100 here and, sorry, we took 100 here and 300 here. So 100 was remaining here. Let me see. Sorry, just a moment. Let's see what we've done. When dealing with 500, we took 200 here. We took this 200 and 300 remaining here. So 100 will be left. When dealing with this 600, we took 100 plus 500. 100 will be left here. 100 was left here. 400 plus 500, that's 600. So now when dealing with this 400, we took 100 here plus 300. I think that's what it should be. It's 400 that we are supposed to collect, not 600. So we had 100 here plus 300. So we'll redo it. 100 plus 300. So we will have to redo this issue on June 25th. It is 400 that was issued out and not 600. So we took 100 at 40 naira or $40. We are going to take 300 at 35. Then that means we are going to clean off all of this. I'm going to clean off all of this. All right, so this is going to be 300 at 35. So how much would that be? 300 multiplied by 35. That will give me 10,500. So I'm going to clean this now. 10,500. So this will give us 14,500. This will give us 400. So 14,500 all over 400. Let's see how much that will give us. $14,500 divided by 400. That gives us 36.25. 36.25. 14,500. So we'll replace this 36.25 so this is 36.25. This is 14,500. And when we remove 14,500 from 32,000, so we have 32,000 minus 14,500. That will give us 17,500. So 17,500 should be here. 17,500. All right. So what we've just done here is we've taken 100 from here plus 300 here. Okay? So what happens is the remaining 100 that is being charged as stolen will be at this remaining 35 naira here, because it was 400 before and we've taken 300. So this 100 will simply be at 35. So 35 times 100 will give us 3,500. 3,500. So when we remove 3,500 from 7,500, we have 14,000. And interestingly, this 500 is the same as this 500 that is left here, that was brought in. That is the 500 that is remaining. And if we look at it again, this is going to give us at 28 naira. And the value is 14. You see here again, the value is 14. So this 500,000, the value is 14,000 at 28, right? What about this cost of sales here? We have our calculator. Our calculator is 18,600. Sorry. Plus 23,800 plus 14,500 plus 3,500. 60,400. So that's what we have here, 60,400. Just write it here. 60,400. Now that's for FIFO. We will now do the next one here, which is number 2, LIFO. Okay, so How do we do LIFO? We'll start again with date, quantity, price. Instead of value, I will put amount. It's still the same thing. But you need to be consistent. If you have used value before, maintain it. Just for lecture's sake, I decided to use amount to show that you can use amount or value. So this is issue. No, this is receipt. Then we have another date here. Quantity, price, and I have amount. This is issue. Then we have quantity, price, and amount. This should be balanced. So once again, we'll set our templates. We already know that it started in January 13, and the quantity was 200, and we had 7,200. If we were to check, the price is 36. So we'll put our 36 down here. Okay. The one is going to be 400 on February 8th. So we go to February. February 8th. Of course, we had 400 here, and it's 15,200. When we checked, that's 38. So we'll put down 38 here. 38. The next day, or the same day, February 8th, we had 600, and it was valued at 24,000. When we checked, it was 40 naira, or 40 pounds. And then we had an issue. So this is dash, 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 dash. The issue was on February 10. Of course, I'm going to put dash here, and dash here. The same thing here. February 10, we had 500. Then the next time, we are having April 12th. That's 400. And it was for 14,000. So what was our price? 35 pounds. 35. Of course, there will be dash, 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 and dash. After the 400, we had April 20. Of course, there will be dash here, dash, dash, and dash. That's 600. After April 20, we have June 15, and it was 500. At how much? 28. So this is at 28, which we've calculated before, which gives us 14,000. All right, so we have the information we need. So this is going to be dash, 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 and dash. After that, we have June 25, which is 400. Of course, here will be dash, 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 and dash. And the next one is June 30, which we call the last day. June 30, there's going to be 100 here. So of course there will be dash, 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 and dash. And that's it. We close the books. And as before, this will give us 21,74,400. This will give us 21,74,400. And this should give us 16. So let's now complete it. So our balance. What will our balance be? Our balance here was 200 when we brought in the first 200. And it will be 7,200. Then we had 400 joining it to make it 600. 15,2 plus 7,2. We did it the last time. 22,400. You see the same sum? 22,400. Of course, here is price 36. We know that. Then 1,200. How much would that be? 46,400. 46,400. 46,400. All right. Now we deducted 500 here. That will be left with 700. We now add 400 to it. That will be 1,100. We now deducted 600. We'll be left with 500. We now have 500. We'll be left with 1,000. We now got 400. We'll be left with 600. We remove this 100. We will now be left with 500. That's the 500 closing stock. So what are the prices? So in last in, first out, this is the 500 we are going to give out. We'll give it at the last price, which is 40 naira or $40. So 40 will be here, and we will say $500 times 40, 500 multiplied by 40, that will give us 20,000. So 20,000 will be here. If we remove 20,000 from 46,400, we'll be left with 26,400. Now, as we are issuing out this 600, at what price? We'll issue 400 at 35. The remaining 100 after we've taken 500 from here, 100 at 40, then another 100 at 38. So 400 at 35, 100 at 40, 100 at 38. So we'll do it down here. It's workings. This should be 4. Issued on April 20, 600. 600 at LIFO. Okay. So we said 600. We take 400 at 35. We take that first. 400 at 35. Then we'll come here and take 100 at 40. And it will remain 100. 100 at 38. 100 at 40. 100 at 38. 100 at 40 will give us 4,000. This will give us 3,800. 40 at 35. What would that give us? 400, sorry. 400 at 35. 14,000. So we have our 14,000 here. If you add 4,000, it will become 8,000, 18,000. So this will be 21,800. And this is 600. So we will say 21,800 divided by 600. Let's do that to get the price issued for one. 20, sorry, what am I doing? 21,800 divided by 600, 36.33. So that will be 36.33. 21,800. So this is 21,800, 36.33. Okay, sorry, I always miss this. When we had 26,400, when we had 26,400, let's add 40,000 to 26,400. That will give us 40,400. So here is 40,400. 40,400. Then we are removing 21,800 from it, minus 21,800. That will give us 18,600. So we have 18,600 here. Let's add this 14,400 to it again. 14,000 really, plus 14,000. That gives us 32,600 here. 32,600. Now we come to this. Now this 400, we are going to take at 28 naira or $28. So this is going to be, or pounds. This is going to be at 28. Okay? So this is going to be at 28. So let's check. 400 times 28, that will give us 11,200. So we have 11,200. When we remove it from 32,600, we have 32,600 minus 11,200. That gives us 21,400. 21,400. Okay, so this remaining 100, where do we take it from? Of course, from the last one, we've taken 400 from it. So this 100 will also be taken from it. So 100 here at 28. That will give us 2,800. 2,800. Remove 2,800 from 21,400. Remove 2,800. That's 18,600. So that's 18,600. So what we're saying is that this is 18,600 as the final balance here. Let's see how much the cost of sales will be. So we have 20,000 plus 21,800 plus 11,200 plus 2,800. That gives us 55,800. 55,800. Okay, just like we identified in FIFO, where this 500 was the price, we said it was at 28 naira, which is this. What about LIFO? This LIFO 500 consists of, let's see how many we've canceled out. This 500 was used up. Now, in this 600, we've used up 400 here and 200 at 40. Sorry. How did we do the 600? This 600, we took, okay, let's start with 500. This 500, we took the whole thing here, 100 was remaining. 600, we took 400, 100, and 100. Okay, so 300 is remaining here, and this 200 is here. 200, 300, 200, and 300. Okay, that's what makes up the 500. So let's see if we can derive that figure, 200 and 300. So 200 at 36, 300 at 38. Let's see something here. 200 at 36, 300 at 38. Let's see. Two hundred times 36, that's 7,200. You know that. 300 at 38. 300 at 38. That's 11,400. 11,400. This will give us 18,600. So this 500 is at 18,600. And this corresponds to this 18,600 that we have here, showing you that this is the composition of that 500. And it's as good as saying 18,600 divided by 500. How much would that be? Eighteen six hundred divided by 500, 37.2. So it means that this, the value of this is at 37.2. So in case you are taking it as the opening stock for the new period, you take it at 37.2. So we said this is your purchase figure. This is your cost of sales. And this is your closing. We now want to do for weighted average method, which is number 3. Weighted average method. All right, so once again, we have Our template is still the same. This is going to be dates. Then we have quantity, price. Let me use amount, AMT. So this is receipt. Then we have another date here. Quantity, price, and amount. This is issue. Then we have quantity, price, and amount. This is our balance. And remember, we are told to use 2 decimal places. Remember the question? Question says calculations to 2 decimal places only. So we start again. This is going to be January 13. So we have our quantity as 200. The price is 36 naira. And 7,200. When we do this here, the quantity will remain 200. Yeah, price is important now. The price is going to be 36 naira or dollars or pounds, 7,200. The next day is February 8th, and we had 400. These are 38. So it's going to be 15,200. It's going to be dash. It's going to be dash. This is going to be dash. This is going to be dash. So here will become 600. So 15,200. That should be 22,400. 22,400. So we have 22,400. When we divide 22,400 by 600, so each time we have the balance, 22,400 now is what is the value, divided by 600, 37.33. So this is going to be at 37.33. 2 decimal. Then we have February 8th again. There was a 600, which we said it was at 40. So this is at 40. And that gave us 24,000. We add, this should be 1,200. And this should be 46,400. Okay, so when we divide 46,400, 46,400, we divide by 12, 38,667. 38.67. The next time is issued. That's February 10. We issued out 500, and it has to be at the average price, 38.67. So what would that be? 38.67 multiplied by 500, that gives us 19,335. So that's supposed to use a different color. $19,335. 19,335. So of course, this will become 700, and the price will still be 38.67. Then we'll need to remove this 19,335. We need to remove it from 46,400. That will give us 27.65. Then the next time, which is April 12th, we had 400 at 35. Let's confirm if it is at 35. Yes. So that will give us 14,000 dash 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 dash. It should be 1,100. When we add 14,000 to the figure we already have, we add 14,000 to it. 41.65. 41,065. At this point now, we need to divide by 1,100. Divided by 1,100 to give us 37.33. So I'll say this is 37.33. After April 12, we have April 20. April 20, we had 600. Of course, it will be at 37.33. So we'll now have a figure. Bring our calculator now. 37.33 multiplied by 600. That will give me 22,398. So 22,398 All right. So this will now remain 500 here. Okay. So this will still remain 37.33. And when we minus these two, what do we have? We already have this in our calculator. We take it away from 41,065. That will give us 18,667. 18,667. After April 20, we have June 15. June 15, 500 was issued at 28, which gives us 14,000. So this will give us 1,000. So when we add 14,000 to this figure, $32,667. When we divide this figure by 1,000 that we have here, $32.67. Okay. After June 15, we have June 25. We took out 400. It has to be at 32.67. So let's calculate. 32.67 multiplied by 400. That will give us 13,068. 13,068. When that is done, here will remain 600. When we remove this 13,068, remove it from 32,667, it will give us, I went to do multiplication. 32,667 minus 13,068. That will give us 19,599. 19,599. 19,599. Of course, that will still give us 32.68 because that's the last figure we use in issue. Then, of course, the last one, which is in June 30. This is June 30. We had 100. Of course, it's still going to be at 32.67, which will give us 3,267. So here will remain 500. And we minus, what would that give us? 32,667. That's what we have in our calculator. Let's minus this from 19,599. So we have, sorry, let's do that again. 19,599 minus 3,267. 16,322. 16,322. Sorry. 16,332. 332. Now, assuming we were to divide this thing by 500, let's see what it will give us. 32,667 is a rounding error. So it's still 32.67. That is still the price at the closing stock. So with this now, we've done with all of this. So we can come here and say this is 2,100. And what was our cost? 74,400. 74,400. This happened to be 1,600. And of course, this is 500. 16,332. Of course, this is 32.67. Okay, and what's the cost of sale here? Let's work that out. So this will be 19,335 plus 22,398 plus 13,068 plus 3,267. That gives us 58,68. Okay. Of course, so this is your purchase. This is your cost of sales. And this is your closing. All right, so we've done the first part of the question. The second part of the question is to calculate and discuss the effect of each of the three methods of pricing method will have on the reported profit on the business. So what they're asking is to calculate profits. So we'll now calculate our profit. So the next question here is as part 2. Calculation of profits for all three methods. So let's list the methods here. This is going to be WAM. This is going to be LIFO. This is going to be FIFO. Okay, so We'll start. First thing to do is sales revenue. How much did we sell? We sell 1,600 boxes. All those issues were all revenue. At how much? So we see the prices 25, 27, 15.2. So what we do, we add them 25, 27, plus 15.2. These are the values. We are not interested at the selling price per unit. So let's calculate what the sales revenue should be. So we have 25,000. We are adding 27,000 and 15,200. That will give us 67,200. We'll put it in each of the methods. 67,200. 67,200. 67,200. 67,200. Let's put a line under that. So we are now saying cost of sales. Instead of putting the cost of sales just like that, you won't get much mark. You need to show opening stock, add purchases, closing stock. So there was no opening stock. No opening stock. So you say purchases. Since there is no opening stock, but if it will make you happy, we can start with opening stock so that we will be consistent. So we can say opening inventory. Let me use the word inventory. Of course, you can say 0, 0, and 0. Purchases. They're all the same thing. 74,400. 74. 74,400. 74,400. 74,400. So far, we have been putting the same figures. Now things is getting interesting. Let's closing inventory. So we'll now look at the method. Of course, we have 16,332 in the last one. 16,332. So this is 16,332. We'll go to the one before it. 18,6. We have our 18,6 here. And the very first one, 14,000. 14,000. Okay. What this will give us is our cost of sales. So we can go ahead and write the cost of sales we had in our book there, or we can also do our calculation again. 74,400 minus 14,000. That will give us 60,400 as our cost of sales. 6,400. Let's verify if that was what we got in FIFO. 6,400. Come again and do for LIFO. We have 74,400 minus 18,600. 55,800. Let's write that. 55,800. Let's verify if that is what we got as our cost of sales. 55,800. And let's do the last one now, which is 74,400 minus 16,332. That should give us 58,068. 58,068. Is that what we got for one? Very good. After getting this cost of sales, you have your gross profit. So your gross profit now is going to be the sales minus cost of sales. I already have 58,068 here. Let me remove it from the sales of 67,200. And that gives me 9,132. 9,132. Let's do the one beside it. 67,200 minus 55,800. 11,400. 11,400. And now let's do the last one now. 67,200 minus 60,400. 6,800. So your gross profit is 6,800. Okay, so we had another expenses. This investment is not inclusive. This capital. Cash expenses incurred 2,300. So less admin expense, we'll call it admin, or less expenses or operating expense. Operating expenses 2,300. 2,300. 2,300. So, the net profits So this will give us 4,500. This will give us 9,100. This will give us 6,832. Let me verify this last one. 9,132 minus 2,300. 6,832. That's fine. So this is your net profit. So you've calculated your net profit, but the question is saying, discuss the effect each of the three methods of pricing will have on the business. So when your closing stock, which is the difference between each of them, the lower your closing stock, the higher your cost of sales, and the lower your profits. So I'll write it down here. I'll use a different pen. The difference in profits is caused by the closing inventory valued with different method. All right. The lower your closing inventory, the higher your cost of sales, and the lower your profits. This was what happened. This was the case with FIFO. It has the lowest closing inventory. Open a bracket. What was that inventory? What was the lowest inventory for just a moment? People had a closing inventory of 14,000, the lowest of all, which is 14,000. And its cost of sales was the highest. Open the bracket. What was its cost of sales? 6,400. resulting in the lowest profit, also gross profit of 68 and net profit of 45. 68 and net profit 45. So you see that if, but conversely, if your closing stock was higher, as in the case of LIFO, the cost of sales will be lower. Sorry, if your closing stock is higher, yes, as in the case of LIFO, your cost of sales will be lower, and that will increase your profit. So you see here, the closing stock is what is giving the issue of difference. For the performance, for performance, for business performance, LIFO had the highest profits of 9,100 of 9,100, but its closing valuation is unrealistic compared to the others. WAM was the next in line for profits, which was better than FIFO. However, its closing inventory was still high. FIFO performed the lowest with a profit of 4,500. However, its closing inventory is considered most realistic as It is valued at the lowest of all three methods. Note, inventory is usually valued at the lower of costs and net realizable value. Hence, for the sake of caution and discretion, the inventory valuation that produces the lowest value is usually preferred. Hence, FIFO gives a better picture of the business. That's it. We've answered all of these questions. We've examined the performance of the business during the first 6 months period. So that's what you are expected to do at this question. I do believe that I've been able to shed light on how this assignment or this question is going to be answered. And on your own part, you do your best to see how you can answer similar questions like this, because you need to know how to value inventory at these three methods. And always remember that the inventory valuation that gives you the lowest value is usually preferred. Inventory is valued at the lower of costs, net realizable value. So the lower the value, the better picture your inventory portrays. In this case, FIFO gave a better picture. In some cases, WAM will give a better picture, but never LIFO. LIFO has been discontinued from the use in IFRS. So we either use WAM or FIFO, whichever gives a better picture. What some companies do is they adopt a particular system and they stick to that, and they have to disclose it in their financial reporting. Even if they have to change, they also disclose when they change it and the reason for the change. So it has been also time with you. Thank you so much for listening to me. If you like what I just solved here, kindly click on the like button in my channel, click on the subscribe button. I would like to hear your views, so engage with me, and I will see you in another video where I'll be solving an assignment problem.